My name is Kris Krohn, and I am becoming the Millionaire Minimalist. I am studying minimalism, trying to understand why everyone's trying to keep up with the Joneses and why many become millionaires, but they're poor. We're talking about the broke millionaire next door. They live in beautiful homes, they've been 401k'ing, they've been putting money in their IRAs, and yet they have absolutely no residual income, which means that their entire life is dedicated to work and stress and often working 40, 60, 80, 100 hours a week to manage and maintain an amazing income. And yet they're trapped in prison financially. There's no way out. They only know how to work hard and they don't know how to actually get a residual income that's going to cover their lifestyle. Millionaire on paper, broke as a joke. Look at these beautiful homes. These homes are between $700,000, close to $1 million. The kind of person that buys a home like this, they're typically 401kers, IRAers, executives, six-figure earners. Definitely the kind of person that will buy and live in this home for probably like 10 years. And if you live in that home for 10 years, the reality is it's going to appreciate several $100,000. You're going to pay it down over a decade, a couple $100,000. In 10 years, you're going to have $500,000 worth of equity. And when you also then add up what they have in their 401ks and their IRAs, on paper, they're a millionaire. And we've got a lot of broke millionaires. Now, it sounds weird to call a millionaire broke, but the reason why they're broke is because none of their money is actually creating any kind of performance. So think about it. The 401k pays you nothing. You don't get a residual income from that. You're just accumulating money. It sits in the market, goes up and down. On average, it goes up over the last 20 years, 4.2%. An IRA, not very different. The equity in your home, frankly, your own home is not an asset. It's technically a liability because it doesn't make you money. So you're trying to get your house paid off. And between that and your 401ks and IRAs, you're a paper millionaire, but you're a broke paper millionaire. Kind of like that book, The Millionaire Next Door, you're the broke millionaire next door. You basically have a beautiful lifestyle, you live in a beautiful home, you drive nice cars, but if you're honest with yourself, you are a slave to your financial situation. You see a nice house and nice cars and a couple trips a year. To manage and maintain that lifestyle, it costs a lot of money. And yet the only way that you make money is if you go work for money and accumulate money, because the truth is your money actually isn't working for you. Think about that. Your 401k isn't working for you. It's just earning a single-digit return in the market. Your IRA is doing the same. And even your equity, on the last 65 years nationwide, the average home goes up 4.65% per year. So even though it's gaining in appreciation, it doesn't make you money. It costs you money. And hence, your assets aren't doing anything for you. They're literally sitting as numbers on a ledger doing nothing. Mathematically, there's a problem with being a paper millionaire. You're actually stuck at a job where you're trading time for money, and then you take that money and you sock it away either as equity in your house, you put it into the market, but either way, the only way to get more money is to go and get more. Mathematically, whether you make $50,000 a year and save 15% of your money, or you make $500,000 a year and save 15% of your money, proportionally, you're still not going to have enough money for retirement. Let me prove it to you. Let's talk about what the typical paper millionaire looks like. So first of all, when it comes to their job, they're usually earning a six-figure income. Often not just $100,000 a year, sometimes they're making $200,000 to $300,000 a year. They make more, so they save more, and when they become a millionaire, it looks impressive. What do they have? Let's do a PR for primary residence. This is a house that is often valued at $1 million, and they owe $400,000 on it. So if they owe $1 million and there's $400,000 left on the mortgage, there's $600,000 of equity. That can make you feel really good. It's like, well, that's over half of what it takes to be a paper millionaire. And then if they've worked 20 or 30 years at their job, they've been contributing to a 401k. And for the higher powered execs that have been pushing max money in there for a maximum match, often those 401ks have balances of $400,000. They've also been putting the money between them and their spouse, let's say, in an IRA, and they've got $200,000 there. They might have a little Bitcoin and a few other things, but traditionally, this is what it looks like. They have $600,000 of equity here. They have $600,000 here. Technically, this person is worth $1.2 million. If they were to sell and liquidate everything and get to retirement, looks pretty good. I'm literally a millionaire on paper. But why am I broke? A nice house comes with a nice mortgage. And so this person may have $600,000 worth of equity, and even though they earn really well, they're putting a lot of that money towards $1 million mortgage, even though it's now paid down to $400,000. Here's the question. How much money are they making on this $600,000? The answer is nothing. They're trying to get their house paid off. And Dave Ramsey has done more than I think anyone else on this planet to inspire people to be out of debt. And it's a feeling that we're chasing. If I can have no debt, I'm gonna feel good. But even if there's $1 million of equity because the house is paid off, guess what it is paying them? It's paying them nothing. They're literally not making any money. What is their 401k paying them? Nothing. It doesn't give them any money. What is their IRA paying them? Nothing. It doesn't pay them. So they're worth $1.2 million, but guess what? It doesn't produce performance for them. It's just in a market that can go up and down, but they're not getting paid. And this is why they're broke millionaires. Hey, sorry to pause the video, but this is too important not to share. What I'm about to tell you could literally change your financial future. So hang with me for just a second because you'll want to hear this. If you're working 40, 50, 60 hours a week or more, and you're chasing success, and you're still feeling like it's not enough, maybe it's time for a different strategy. Me and my team are offering free financial game plan calls to help you get a break from the grind, stop wasting time on single-digit returns, and start building real passive income through smart real estate investing. I'm basically gonna put myself in your shoes and say, what would I do if I were you to get where you wanna go quicker so you can also have more time to live the life that you feel called to? Click the link below, book your free call today, because I want you to live wealthy and live balanced. Now we're gonna compare a broke paper millionaire that is really just middle-class, poor American that looks good on paper but doesn't have any performance on their money, and we're gonna compare them to an investor millionaire. An investor millionaire has the same net worth, but what they're doing now is they're actually forcing their money to give them performance. They understand that the stock market on the 100-year average, after taking inflation into account, only averages 3.5%. It would take several lifetimes for that to become meaningful compound interest. Meanwhile, if the investor can access higher ROI, even just double ROI, what they're gonna get is a lot more performance, and they're actually gonna get paid on their investments and their net worth. And it's gonna translate to something that's on paper to something that they receive cash every single month. What an investor is gonna do is they're gonna access the equity in the home, they're gonna access their 401k, they're gonna access their IRA, and they're gonna say, I need more performance on this. I need to get this to actually make money for me. And generally there's one thing that they're gonna invest in that has created more millionaires than anything else, hands down, and you know what that is. If you're a follower on my channel, we talk about real estate all the time. I'm gonna show you how real estate not just outperforms these choices, but how much cash can it actually give you. Let's talk about the $400,000 in the 401k. Let's talk about the $200,000 in the IRA. You can actually, under certain conditions, access this money out of the market. You've been told that if you do that, you're gonna pay taxes and you're gonna pay penalties, but that's not necessarily true. You could self-direct these assets and you could make a different choice. For example, you could use the $600,000 and you could buy 8 homes. Now you might be wondering, Kris, why would I wanna buy 8 single-family homes? Well, there's a couple of reasons. First, it's easy to get a home to produce at 25% a year on your money versus sitting in a 401k or IRA where you're averaging 4 or 5%. Now, you're not just making 5 times more money, 25% compounds a lot more. In fact, over 20 years, it compounds into 27 times more money than a 401k or an IRA. That's the difference of retiring with millions of dollars versus hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, these 8 homes are also producing a positive cash flow. Right here on my calculator, let's just assume for a moment that these 8 homes are each producing $400 a month. That's $3,200 a month in total. And I'll take a look at that on the annual. And basically, we're now bringing in $38,000 a year from money that was previously paying you nothing. Now, hang on to this number because it's about to become really important. I also want to look at the maximum potential of this person worth $1.2 million and what they could do for buying as much real estate as possible so that I can show you a really strong comparison. You see the $600,000 of equity they have? They could go to a bank, they could get a home equity line of credit, and they can't access all of the equity. They can go up to 80% of the $1 million home. They're probably going to get a HELOC or a home equity line of credit for $400,000. That $400,000 is enough for them to also buy 5 more homes. Now, if those 5 homes were also producing about $400 a month of cash flow, that right there is an extra $20,000 a year. It's actually $24,000 a year. So when you add up the $38,000 from these 8 homes and the $24,000 from these 5 homes, you're now breaking $60,000 a year. Now, the reason why that's important is that your assets before were not paying you anything, but we used $400,000 here from the equity, $400,000 from a 401k, $200,000 from an IRA. That's $1 million. And that $1 million is essentially creating $60,000 a year. Here's why that's really important. For every $1 million, if in real estate you could have it producing $60,000 a year, that essentially equates to a 6% cash on cash ROI, or return on investment. If you don't invest in real estate, what are you going to do with the equity in your home? Nothing. At retirement, you're just going to enjoy a paid off home. But you have $600,000 in a 401k and in an IRA. And if we were to take your 401k, if we were to take your IRA, your financial planner is going to recommend that you annuitize that. And essentially, they're going to get you somewhere right around 3% on your money. Essentially, half the money that real estate can give you. So what's the really big take home message? You could be a millionaire and literally get paid $30,000 a year. You could be a millionaire in real estate and get paid $60,000 a year, and basically you're earning twice as much money. Here's the crazy part. We're just talking about cash flow, that real estate can produce twice as much cash flow as what a financial planner can in like an annuity. But if real estate is done correctly, that's not even all that it has to offer. You see, real estate provides tax benefits, principal reduction of the tenants buying the house for you as they pay it off. The house appreciates, it goes up in value. And if you handle your real estate the right way, you take that original $1 million in net worth you put into real estate, and then it becomes millions of dollars. And every year your cash flow grows, it expands, and then your income is tax-free because you get to depreciate it and you get to write it off. So when you start looking at these two comparisons, being a millionaire sounds exciting until you realize that you're the broke millionaire next door, that your money has no performance and that it's doing nothing for you. But on the other hand, it's got to be really scary to become a real estate investor, where you actually have to take risk to earn all this performance on your money. And there's a secret so you don't have to. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I help paper millionaires become investor millionaires. In other words, I convert their net worth into the kind of cash flow, and I've been doing it for over 20 years. Whether you're a paper millionaire or you're an aspiring paper millionaire, which means your 401k, your IRA, and you've got equity in your home, but you haven't converted it into the game of real estate, listen to this one warning. The most important asset you have is not your money, it's your time. And you're losing time when you're not converting it into real estate, because that's where you actually make your money work for you. So whether you're already a paper millionaire many times over worth millions of dollars but no performance on your money, or if you started that game and you don't have performance, click the link below, learn about working with me, because what I do is I help convert paper millionaires into actual millionaires. And if all you do is have $50,000 sitting in a 401k, IRA, or equity in your home, and you want help converting that into your beginning real estate portfolio so you can start getting performance now, you can also click the link below and I'll show you exactly how that's done. Can I tell you what my real concern is for paper millionaires? You're often penny pinchers. You've worked really hard to save your money to put it into those 401ks and IRAs. You're preparing for the future when you can retire. But if you do the math, the kind of money that you're earning and the rate even at which you're saving, you're still not going to have the money that you need in retirement. And so what's crazy is it's almost like you've got your blinders on and you're just focusing on working and accumulating more money, but you haven't done the 5th grade math. We're going to fall short by half or 70 or 80% as many do. Because what I just demonstrated is that $1 million is not what it used to be. If every $1 million gives you $60,000 a year, then you need $2 million just to look at breaking a basic 6-figure income. So what's the dilemma? You're okay not getting performance on your money, but you're okay getting performance out of you. What would happen if you went to work and your money went to work and you were both performing? That's the catalyst that you need to become a multimillionaire. And even though I, as the Millionaire Minimalist, am not saying that you need millions of dollars to retire, a lot of people would like to have $100,000, $200,000, or $300,000 a year in retirement, which means they need a few million bucks. To get that money, your money has to start performing. But you see, I've got a concern greater than that. There's a lot of these paper millionaires that I work with one-on-one, and they're basically really nervous and scared to access their money and invest it, even though they know that what they're doing isn't working. That same mindset that won't invest is the same mindset that penny pinches, which means that often they don't take the family trips that they would like to, certainly not the number of them. In life, they forego a lot of opportunities to connect with loved ones that might take a little bit of money, or there's just opportunities that would bring joy and fun, but that would also be spending money. And so they're hoping to have enough for retirement and they're not, but they're also missing out on life's opportunities now. They're living for a day that may never come. It's all about someday. Did you know that when someone retires, they live on average 4.5 years? And then they die because they lose their purpose for living? The time to live is right now, which means there's got to be balance in working and saving money. But if your money was invested in working for you, then maybe you pick a career where you don't have to work as hard. And maybe you start recapturing some of your time. And maybe that time goes to prioritizing your health, or maybe some of your own hobbies, or maybe it goes to prioritize time with your loved ones. Do you know how many marriages by the time they get to retirement have failed because they were prioritizing money and career and business too much? What are you missing out on today? What do you want to be doing with your life that doesn't necessarily cost a lot of money? It might require some money that would give you the fulfillment and happiness that says, I lived a full life. It wasn't, well, when I became an adult, I worked really hard and then I set a bunch of money aside and then I saved as much as I could and then I got to retirement and I got to enjoy myself a little bit and I died. Like, let this be a cautionary tale. That doesn't have to be your life. You don't have to be frivolous with your money, but you can be intentional. And you can spend it in an appropriate way that helps you maximize fulfillment while now getting performance on your money. This brings you into balance. Well, the truth is we're here trying to figure out how to live our very best life. And I want to thank you for giving me some of your time so that we could be on a journey together to explore what would it look like for me to live my life more intentionally, more purposefully. The reality is it's scary to do the things that I've talked about today, and you don't have to do them alone. There are experts out there that this is what we do all day long. If you've got any money sitting in a 401k, IRA, or equity in your home, and you're doing the math and you're saying it's not going to be enough, now is the time to do something about that. Click that link below, get in touch with me through my team. Let's find out if working together, even one-on-one, to help you reposition your assets to, yes, get better performance, yes, make more money, not necessarily at greater risk, I think in many cases less risk, and ultimately get you on track where we can start not just having the money that you need for retirement, but reclaiming some of the time that you want in your life now, because life is precious, life is short, and if you want to live a more meaningful one, click that link and let me get you financially where you need to be.